Hello everyone. Today, the content I'm going to explain is the installation of electrical control circuits in the cabin control cabinet. Next, let's move on together to the section on the connection and installation of electrical control circuits. First, let's take a look at the actual diagram and wiring of the yaw motor. The yaw motor mainly provides power for the yaw system. When manually adjusting the yaw, jointly connect the electrical cabinet to the yaw motor. The purpose is to simulate the barrowing of the yaw system before leaving the factory, and this step does not require passing through the slip ring. In the yaw system, the drive system is composed of two yaw motors. Each yaw motor has two wires, and the terminals of the wires are marked as positive and negative for the motor respectively. The wiring process involves two steps. First, turn off the system power supply. Second, check the drawings. In this electrical wiring diagram, the installation status of the driver can be seen from the installation information of View 25.1. Specifically, the drive is connected to 4 points. The first point is the power connection, indicating that the power supply for the driver comes from 24 volts DC. The second point is the signal connection, which is data plus and data. It is to send the instructions from the control cabinet to the yaw motor 1. The yaw motor 1 needs to be connected to the positive and negative poles at the R, N, and M positions. The positive and negative aspects of the yaw motor should be linked accordingly, and attention should be paid to accuracy after connecting the yaw driver. Remember to connect the ground wire. This is the explanation of the U25.1 electrical circuit installation schematic information. What we see later is the same. The connection status between yaw motor 2 and U25.5. Specifically, find the yaw motor of the electrical cabinet on the page description in the table of contents on the second page of the electrical drawing. As shown in the figure, the wiring diagram corresponding to yaw motor 1 under column 2. The third is to measure the on-off states. Specifically, select the aviation connector X3, connect the male and female terminals, and lock them tightly. Refer to page 58 of the electrical drawings. As shown in the figure, use a multimeter to conduct a continuity test to confirm that both ends of the aviation connector X3 are marked with the number X3-5. Then, conduct a continuity test on the wire numbers X3-6 marked on both ends of the aviation connector X3 to confirm. The fourth is wiring. Specifically, refer to page 25 of the electrical drawing. As shown in the figure, use a flathead screwdriver to connect the wire marked X3-5 at one end of the aviation connector X3 to terminal 5 on the outside of X2. Connect the other end of the aviation connector X3, marked with the X3 to 5 wire number, to terminal 5 of the female connector of the plug. Connect the number 5 terminal corresponding to the female terminal of the male end to the output line of yaw motor 1. Complete the connection of yaw motor 1 according to the above steps. The fifth step is to complete the connection of the remaining yaw motor 2 according to the above operation steps. The sixth is to keep the system power off. Next comes the wiring of the yaw limit switch. When manually adjusting the yaw, VT is only necessary to directly connect the electrical cabinet to the yaw limit switch. The purpose is to simulate the barrowing of the yaw system before leaving the factory, and this step does not require passing through the slip ring. The yaw counting system is composed of 2 limit switches in the yaw system. Each limit switch has 3 wires, and the terminals of the wires are marked with positive power supply, negative power supply, and signal. Wiring process. The first step is to turn off the system power supply, and the second is to check the drawings. Specifically, find the switch power supply of the electrical cabinet described on page 2 of the table of contents in the electrical drawing, which is page 23. Find the wiring diagram of the 24V power supply corresponding to the yaw 1 limit switch under column 5. It is in the table of contents on page 2 of the electrical drawings. Find the electrical cabinet main control system slot 1 in the page description, which is page 42. Find the wiring diagram of the yaw limit switch signal under column 5. The following is page 23 of the electrical drawing. Yaw limit switch power supply wiring diagram. Under column 5, page 23, terminals 1 and 3 of connector X2 correspond to the 24V power supply of the yaw limit switch. The corresponding output terminals are pins 1 and 3 of the aviation connector X3. Under column 5, page 42, the signal terminal for the pitch limit switch corresponds to terminal 9 of connector X2. The corresponding terminal is pin 9 of the aviation connector X3. The third is to measure the on-off state. Specifically, select the aviation connector X3. Connect its male and female ends and lock them tightly. Refer to page 58 of the electrical drawing. Use a multimeter to test the continuity of the wire number X321M marked on both ends of the aviation connector X3. Then, conduct a continuity test on the wire number X3-3 marked on both ends of the aviation connector X3 to confirm. Then, conduct a continuity test on the wire number X3-9 marked on both ends of the aviation connector X3 to confirm. The fourth is wiring. Specifically, refer to page 23 of the electrical drawing and use a flathead screwdriver to connect the wire marked X3 to 1 at one end of the aviation connector X3 to terminal 1 on the outside of X2. Connect the other end of the aviation connector X3 marked with the X3 to 1 wire number to terminal 1 of the female connector of the plug. Engage the 12-pin mating connectors. Connect terminal 1 of the male terminal to the output line of the yaw limit switch 1 corresponding to the female terminal. Complete the wiring of the yaw limit switch 1 according to the above steps. The fifth step is to complete the connection of the remaining yaw limit switches according to the above operation steps. The sixth is to keep the system power off. The above is the learning content of this class. Thank you all.